Welcome back. We're going right into map number 1. It'll be a Zir Cave, Old Miss Red going up against Mississippi State. And again, a lot of implications for playoffs on not only what happens in this matchup, but how the rest of the season fares for not just these two teams, but also Florida State, UTK, ULL, all in the conversation for potential playoffs, ins or outs, depending on how these series go. So taking a look, it'll be Ole Miss Red in the representative red. Mississippi State will be in the white and maroon. First handful of kills will turn up in favor of Ole Miss Red, and from the unfavored side of the map, they'll get some pretty early time here, Austin, on the town center.
And we see this from time to time where the team that's on the unfavorable side off the start of a Zir Cave does actually rack up a good amount of points going into P2. We're going to see Ice win a big one-on-one and start to move in towards this yellow building for us. But while all this happens, they have to battle through more and more lines of sight. So they do pick the member off of the actual hill that's picked right back up initially. We're starting to see some of the players already rotate, try and get through in the back for some of these spawns. It's not going great thus far, but 20 seconds has already been picked up. Still another 20 left, and this might not be too bad for Ole Miss going into P2.
Ice knows that there's a player nearby. Good team shots coming through on the Fib. Keeman will take down 2, make it 3 actually from the side from Cobble. So just like that, and an opportunity for him to move on through the back side of the cliff path. Won't find any progress towards getting in the back, but the rest of the teammates have found space in front of yellow. And again, beyond this, they found 41 seconds on the first hard point where we don't typically see all that much accumulated. So a good start here for Ole Miss Red.
Great start this far. Now we'll see if MSU have the successful hold in towards P2. We saw Ice end up grabbing a double. Austin moves on in, finds a double of his own. So this hill being very highly contested. No real setup coming through thus far for MSU, and still all the members flooding in and out of this yellow alley. As Indie Gamer Dude finds a couple of kills. He actually found one more and his teammate, so good nade from him. But the time is starting to be collected. Smoke is going to come in, so Fib's going to look for a push right behind his teammate. They do break the hill. They're going to find one. Turns for 2. Big kills from Fib. Looking to collect the last 20 seconds, and they're already in position to move in towards soccer fields.
This is a terrible spot for MSU to be. They've got to come out of this essentially what is a spawn trap in to get to the soccer field. 53-20 will be the score. Last bit of scrap time will go the way of Mississippi State, pending that Schema doesn't win another kill, which he actually does. So it'll be 53-20 for the score. Mississippi State trying to work their way as best possibly they can over towards P3, but a really solid setup here for Ole Miss Red as they take the first handful of seconds relatively uncontested.
Z looks to move in for this big push, but Mensa's going to be battling out the right, has the AR in hand, pops a dead silence, so he's looking to get up close and personal, and again, hold this line of sight. He's going to jump up top, sees one player, takes him down, but he's lost 3 of his teammates. Hill is still in favor of Ole Miss Red, and there's 30 seconds left to be collected. Mensa's going to slip around and find now a second member as he's 8 and 5. Doesn't have a whole lot of time on the hill, but doesn't need it because his teammates are getting the job done. So this hard point's going to be chalked up in the soccer field from MSU. They do have a setup in towards the Cave West, so we'll see now if they can actually hold it and lock down some points.
They gotta start winning some gunfights here. Vision's flat out. You can see Mississippi State is doing what they can to hold the middle and bunker up, but it's Ole Miss Red who's completely flanked all the way around and is hitting this hill from multiple angles, and they're winning a continual amount of gunfights. Z will finally take down 2 before he falls, allowing Perk to come back towards the Cave West Hill. And with that, it looks like the spawns will settle for Mississippi State by the hen house, and Ole Miss Red is going to be forced to flood through the cave system.
Yeah, but this is great because Ole Miss have all the abilities to flood on in and actually find some big kills. Zeus is going to shut down the push over to the left side with a big double, and we're going to see Fib try to enter in. So they are still fighting and contesting for a lot of this time, which is what we see a lot on this hill, as it's very difficult to lock down a guaranteed setup. But thinking a hill ahead, you already flipped the spawns here for Ole Miss, and you're going to be able to set up for that cliff hill. That's going to be spawning in about 20 seconds. Fib looks to push maybe one more time, see if he can take this player off, but he's going to hold strong. It's going to find a big double and get his team fairly close and almost tie things up.
That's his 3rd set of double kills as he's now 6 straight, 11 and 10. Skeeman will take down 2 in the flank through push to try to get to this cliff path. And Z will finally see his streak ended at 6, but a good hill for Mississippi State, keeping them within 15 points. But the big problem here is you've got Fib, who's still being a pest over in the cave system, who could potentially pinch behind a number of these isolated pushes for Mississippi State. And unless they track him down, this is going to be a disjointed hit for Mississippi State, and they won't fully track him out. So MSU, their first hit has been completely thwarted, and Ole Miss Red will find themselves the opening, what will likely be opening 30 seconds of this 5th hard point.
Mansa's just waiting in the hills, soaking up the time. His teammates are slaying behind him. Push comes through. Austin's out front. AR in hand, finds one, finds two, has a third, but Ice is not going to allow himself to get the triple. Mensa has been in the hill the entire time. This hill has not even been touched. Ice could look to maybe hit it one more time, fight for the scrap time, but this is going to be shut down. Everybody holds strong on this setup, so a full 60 is going to come in on P5, and now we'll go through the resets of the hard points, go back to the middle.
And it's going to be double, or at least almost double the score in favor of Ole Miss Red. Mississippi State, you really need to find significant time here on P1 and hopefully win a rotation to the second hard point as well. Mississippi State will be locking things down, essentially bunkered up between yellow and the hard point itself. A couple players trying to work their way through garage, but it's Ole Miss Red who's actually looking a little disjointed now, as a couple players individually are trying to hit from multiple angles, and none of it's really turning up in their favor. So first 30 seconds will go to Mississippi State. This is exactly what you need, but you would love to see this last 30, at least the majority of it, also stay in your favor. The question mark comes, at what point do you give up this hard point and try to go for the P2 spawn zone?
He's holding strong. He's going to get caught in that contest corner. And Skeeman can just lay down, and this is actually some decent time that he's picking up. No one's contesting it because they're worried about the rotation, but the nades are going to come through, and they're going to take that player off. Austin is going to lose that one as Perk finds a very nice jump shot. So we'll look at the setup now, moving in towards our Cave East hill and our rotation, and this is going to be the side of MSU trying to bust through, trying to close the lead, but the kills are already dropping down. Ole Miss is doing a great job of holding strong. Smokes are coming out, and now MSU are going to go for push number 2.
Again, for MSU, you've got to do a better job here than you did the time previously. C will be the player to open up with one, slides into the hill, but immediately gets cut down by Fib, one of the last players left alive, and he takes down 2. Doesn't even fall in the back end until Ice puts a nade in his back pocket, but 170 to 120 the score, and things are going to be looking really scary here unless Mississippi State can find a way to at least contest some of this time. They also need to make sure they don't lose the rotation for B3. Again, last time through, Ole Miss Red was able to find a near full 60 on the soccer field, and they can't afford to give them that kind of time again.
Oh, they cannot. So scrap time will go over. That's going to give them a nice, comfortable lead. We'll see if they can bust through what this setup is, trying to keep them spawn trapped. Austin finds a very nice bunny hop, but traded out from Ice, who's holding that truck alley location. So this player number 4, you see him wrapping all the way back. Skeeman's going to try and attack from the other side. You can see this man trying to obviously find these big kills, try and flip spawn. So he has actually now got his team to close spawn, going in towards the next hill. This is massive. Ole Miss doing a great job on these rotations, but Perk, he is starting to fire on all cylinders, finds himself a big double. The nade will take care of him. So the hill is contested, but Ole Miss still find a beautiful rotation, and they're the ones that are collecting the majority of the time.
Yeah, MSU did not read the spawn flip in time. Ice is still staying alive for as long as humanly possible, as he takes down one more before he eventually gets cut down by a nade. Austin, though, from the Godheady, is going to be in a really dangerous spot. Creep forced to contest with an M40. You don't really want to see that, and he will drop. Gamerdude will take one down before he eventually gets traded, and the scrap time should go the way of Ole Miss Red. Austin will eventually realize that and put himself on the hard point for the final 10 seconds, which if he finds full time, it'll be right around the 215 mark to 128. And Mississippi State, they are not set up like they were last time around for P4, so they're going to have to break and retake this 4th hard point very, very early on.
There's no easy way to say this. They're just simply a step behind right now to Ole Miss, and they're going to lose the rotation as we're going to see Garris get himself a triple. Austin grabs one. Creep is going to be the first one trying to lead the charge, but doesn't have any support behind him. The subs are just pushing up, getting in the faces of MSU. You see it in the feed. There's way more red than there is white. Garris is going to go for a potential flip. Has a couple of members to worry about. Gamer Dude is not going to go for the re-challenge. He's going to be on the head glitch, gets caught on the mantle. The flip might even be perfect. It's not going to come out just yet. They're still getting that close spawn in the middle of the map, but there's the flip. It comes through as we narrow down on 20 seconds left, and Ole Miss Red, they are playing a fantastic Azir Cave hardpoint.
Can't get too chaotic right now. If you're MSU, you got to try to set yourself up for this hit. Make sure everyone's full HP. Get a couple of good nades out. And you can see this is not the case whatsoever. There's only 2 players here hitting the yellow cut. One will fall. That was Gamerdude's last one left alive. He will also drop, and now it's just a matter of time. MSU Esports spawning all the way out by P4. And from here on out, Ole Miss Red just needs to hold down their lines of sight and make sure they soak these last 12 seconds. One more hit for Mississippi State. That's going to be right down the gut. And you can see see the kill feed all red, as Ole Miss Red will surely take the victory. It'll be at a scoreline of a 250 to 154. And really outside of the first rotation, P4, this entire game was really in Ole Miss, part of Ole Miss Red's back pocket.
It was, and you couldn't really see any holds. MSU maybe didn't have a strong setup to really get into to actually fend off the push that was coming through, but it was definitely a struggle for this squad. They were just getting outmaneuvered, outslayed, and the biggest deal seemed to be the sub players on the side of Ole Miss Red that were really just making the difference. As you saw the subs picking up 2-3 kills all the time. The ARs, of course, also playing their part, allowing the subs to really get to positions like these. But you start to wonder, and I start bringing up that question that I asked before we threw to a break about not having State in the lineup. You're one of your main ARs, if I'm not mistaken, on this roster. And without him, it seems like you're already seeing a pretty big factor play into just them not slaying enough on the map and not winning enough of their gunfights on rotation.
Kariz goes 34 and 15. I think that kind of highlights that point almost perfectly for you there, Austin. So first map does not really turn up much into the favor of Mississippi State. And obviously, you know, maybe some hurt into that department because they are missing a player who we have come to know as be one of the top AR players, at least for his squad. But going into map number 2, if we get a look at what our map set looks like one more time here before we jump in, it's going to be the Search and Destroy played on Arklov Peak. And like we mentioned, if we need the 4th map, we'll get a double dose of Hack the Art before potentially a map 5 Piccadilly.
And the Arklov Peak, I think this has got to be the map I've casted over the most for Search and Destroy. So we've seen it played so many different times, so many different ways, with snipers, without snipers, and everybody knows how the map is played at this point in time. But I want to touch on a point that I brought up before as well, where Mississippi State have a pretty good track record overall within the game mode of Search and Destroy. Even against some of the higher teams, they're able to sometimes find these, these losses or whether or not these wins that are very, very close. But it seems like they're always pretty consistent for the most part in this game mode. And if there's a time to start to rally together, it's now, because the respawns, I'm not trying to say they're chalked by any means shift without State, but it seems like they're definitely playing from a deficit overall, right? Not having one of their main slayers, that seems to be a factor coming off map number 1. So you go into this one a little bit refreshed, trying to regain, knowing that this game mode is going to be one of your stronger ones, and hopefully you're able to definitely pull out the series here with the 1-to-1 tie game going into map 3, because the respawns, you just have to grab one. If you can set it all the way to a Piccadilly and you can find the win on towards Search and Destroy Arklov Peak, then I think that's more or less your win condition looking just at this lineup coming in today.
Yeah, Mississippi State's been a little bit all over the place with their Search and Destroy. I mean, they were able to take LSU to game around 11, which is not what you want to see, but then they were able to turn into a 6-3 win versus Georgia Southern. Again, one of the few losses on maps that Eagles COD team has suffered all year long. And then from there on out, there's just been a bunch of essentially forfeits, with the exception of a 6-0 that they were able to take versus the University of Arkansas squad, who, again, I think was a team that a lot of people were sleeping on early in the Southeastern Division. And Arkansas lately has been putting together a number of very well-found wins, including that Map 5 win versus Mississippi State back in week number 6. So, again, this is obviously a big matchup here, not just because whoever wins has a chance of making their way into the playoffs, but beyond that, if you lose this game, you definitely want to keep the map count close, because there is still the potential for tiebreakers coming through, and outside of head-to-head, the map count will 100% come to play. So it'll be Ole Miss Red still rocking the red. They'll be on the offense here first. For the Arklov Peak, I figured that we'll be seeing some cheeky plays over towards B with how hot their SMGs were looking, and that's going to be the case here, as round number 1 will head right over towards the B bomb site.
Aggressive push coming in. Benzo watches up top, so Creep might peek it a little bit late. Could get some good timing. Might have been a sniper shot I just heard, or a nade that went down. Either way, Creep does find a couple of those players that I talked about. He gets the good angle. Mensa finds the trade, but it doesn't matter because it's 2 for 1. Bib has entered in looking for a gun battle against Ice, who's just playing his life. He's got a member on the stairs, and they're actually not going to hold it. And now the flank from Gamer Dude in the window is going to take down Fib. Mensa's going to throw the nade out. He floods through. He does manage to find that last player. So we got a 2v3 with 45 seconds on the clock.
This was not a very well-coordinated hit here for Ole Miss Red. Nobody watched the outside window. Fortunately, Austin's able to take down Gamer Dude, who previously did find success from the window. Mensa gets tagged up from the side. Austin will re-corral the bomb and immediately start to get this planted. But for MSU, it looks like they're just going to wait to see if the bomb's going to come down and then decide how they want to hit this. Perk has been watching the backside of this house the entire time, and now will make his way forward. That since he's got dead silence, Z will enter for him and will be dropped. And I don't really know what that was. It really wasn't a shoulder. It really wasn't a bait and switch. And fortunately, Perk able to snap onto him. Now a 1v1, but no one has any idea where Austin has left. And he has exited the bomb site and is going to be watching for the barrels to clutch up.
Perk's got to go quick. He's going to go up top here. He might be able to find this player, but you have a clear position on the bomb. Perk has a chance to maybe find this. He's going to go for the defuse. It is behind the bomb. Oh, he could have maybe actually held on to it and actually forced out the play to rush him, and he could have had a chance, but it doesn't matter. He's going to hold strong. Just a little flick on the actual defuse button, and then slightly right back off Austin. Going to take down the final kill. Round number 1. Going to hold, but still a little bit scary there with the initial push that came through there for Ole Miss.
100%, and the fact that, honestly speaking, you could have stretched diffused that, and I think it stayed out of the line of sight of where Austin was holding that clutch position. So a little bit of a strange round number 1, but it will turn up in favor of Ole Miss Red. Now Mississippi State, on their first offensive attempt, will send Creep over to the B-bomb site. He's also working with Dead Silence, almost fully charged for him. And the rest of his squad will make their way over towards A. 3 members defensively here for Ole Miss Red. And by the looks of it, it doesn't seem like Mississippi State has pulled out a sniper rifle to watch over this trench at all. And I say that, and never mind, Ice is actually the one sniping, so he will actually find the kill.
Yeah, Ice does have the boomstick in hand. Looks for a couple more players that might be peeking over this hill. But just waiting. Waiting is also a problem. We see it all the time. Teams hit a little bit too late, especially when this happens. This shuts down the push because you have that loss of the player. It's going to even us up at 4-4. It's clear that you're making a push over towards this bomb site, and now losing Creep, losing Austin on the head glitch, or rather Z on the head glitch. And this is going to be Gamer Dude is just sitting at the flank, and MSU are just in no position to look for an actual attack to a bomb site.
Yeah, Gamer Dude needs to find this kill as soon as humanly possible if they want to have a chance at moving over to A. Gamer Dude has seen him. We'll find the kill. So now all of a sudden you guys start making your move quickly too. 18 seconds, 1 player will cross. Ice does not take the shot. Gamer Dude is going to go up top into red. He doesn't have time to make this play happen. You got to go. You got to go right now. Ice will finally make a move. He'll jump over to the top of the bomb set where Mensa is head glitching, and it's just going to be down to Gamer Dude. That's just too slow for Mississippi State. I mean, their only chance is possibly hit the Dead Silence and make an aggressive push through, but they really didn't give themselves too much of a chance there in late stages of that second round.
And I called it at the very start. I said, all right, they got the pick, but how long are they going to wait before they go through with a push? Their bomb carrier gets shut down on sprint, and then they immediately freeze up and they start dropping one by one. You have to have a better coordination push. If you're going to attack this A bomb site, you have to do it as soon as you throw the smoke. Have your submachine gun player run through, get you information, be there for the trades. These are the type of things that you need to be doing in Arclog's Peak, especially this far in towards the game. So we'll take a look at the scoreboard. 5-1 for Mensa. Obviously, one of the big contributors to why they actually are 2-0 up, and no response from MSU, but they're on the defense. They can look to shut this push down, as it looks like it's going to be another attack over towards the B-bomb site.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I don't know if it 100% wasn't broke the first time, so we'll see if Ole Miss Red can correct some of their mistakes. We'll make a lot of noise as Mensa coming through the second floor door. We'll also slam it shut by the sound of it. Iced up top is just resorting to his pistol. Creep also a little bit further out from the middle of the map. Bomb will be planted here for Mississippi State. It looks like they're just going to wait for Gamer Dude to try to rotate back through the A building before they make their play. It's going to all happen likely at once. Creep and Z from the side window. Ice gets taken down first. Gamer Dude for the trade. And that's unfortunate. I was about to say 2 players peek in the same window. Creep actually takes care of Z. And with that, Fib also took out Creep. So it's a 3-on-2 for Ole Miss Red in their favor. And only 15 seconds left before they just win the round based on the timer alone.
Yeah, they're pushing way too late. Mensa's going to play for some extra kills. Perk's going to hold strong with the pre-fire, but like you said, extra kills going to come in. There's no one that can get close towards the bomb, and this is just going to be patting a little bit of the stats at the end of the round. So Ole Miss, rather, they have a little bit of a cleaner take in towards the bomb site. No one's even there to contest it, and because no one was there to contest it, their shift, it was a lot of ARs and assault rifles that have to go for a retake in this close quarter area. That's very difficult to do. You saw it; they inched up just a little bit too slow. And now 3-0 up is going to be Ole Miss Red.
And again, it comes down to the unfortunate timing of that peek for Creep and Z on the side window. Creep take care of a teammate, and then he gets taken care of himself. No kills whatsoever from that side window makes life even harder for Mississippi State, who now will go all 5 players over towards B. have they adjusted their weapon loadouts appropriately for this? Z will toss out a smoke. Shots coming through from the player defensively up top, which is Austin. He's also got a little bit of help from the snow path, and here come 3 members from Ole Miss Red rotating from A. One in the tight corners of this L hall. Fib finds the first, Austin the second, and now all of a sudden Mississippi State are caught right in the middle of no man's land with a 5-on-3 against their favorite.
No, it's not looking good. Perk is going to at least try and even things up a bit with a kill onto Fit. Nice snap. Perk actually playing pretty well so far. Almost finds 3, but Mentz is the one that responds with 2 for himself. Z now caught in a 1v3, has 40 seconds to work with, and luckily enough, does have the bomb. So this is a possible round that you could look at clutching up, but you can just see he's so hesitant to make a move right now. He doesn't want to make the wrong one. He has no dead silence, as you can note. He has a trophy system, but you're going to have to make a play at some time. And, well, hello. That's going to be scheming, holding on to that angle. Takes you down 4-0 up. MSU yet to even find a round.
Yeah, this is real tough for MSU. Ole Miss has just had their way with them really throughout the entirety of this series so far. The Azir Cave, like you mentioned, was really just the 4th hard point the first time around that MSU had some success on. And here in the search and destroy, I don't mean to make it sound so candid, but MSU has looked rather lost so far.
Yeah.
As far as how they're trying to approach some of these defenses and some of these offensive hits. And again, just a couple of first bloods going against their favorite definitely makes life a little bit more difficult, but they've had a tough time responding to Ole Miss Red, who's definitely been setting the pace.
You talk about if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's going to follow suit with this B push. That's been every single round. They bust through the gate. No one's down low. This might just be an instant plan, and Ole Miss Red have all the confidence they need to go for this B-bomb plant. Perk has a chance to find a couple. He does find one, and Z's going to respond with one of his own. So this is pretty good. He could even just see a really fast defuse on this right away. The shots go down as he picks up a weapon. So it's all to Mensa now in a 1v4.
Finding just tagged the M4. Finally, he gets double peeked and team shot. Absolutely appropriately done there for Mississippi State. Easy defuse coming behind us. And all right, now you've figured out Ole Miss Red's B hit. That was a much better attempt for MSU defensively. Definitely the best that they've looked so far. Again, opening couple of kills going in their favor is very, very helpful to make sure that you're able to lock down that defense. But at least you've got one thing figured out. So from here, how does things change for MSU? We haven't really seen them pull off a successful A hit yet. So will they try to go back that direction is the real question here, as they will go to their 3rd offense.
Yeah, they haven't found a successful offensive rounds in even getting close. I don't think they have a bomb plant thus far. Yeah, they don't have a bomb plant. So this has just been a struggle for them, and they're going to make an attack over towards A. Ice ran the sniper last time around. I think that's also his only kill in the game was when he had the sniper out. So
yeah,
curious to see if he's going to have it. So he's going to have it again. So this is going to be a chance to find the opening pick. Will Ole Miss Red actually give it to them? We're going to find one member running through the smoke, but Harris is there for yet another trade onto Perk. Perk going down. That's a crucial member that they're no longer having access to, but Gamer Dude starting to pick up some of that slack, and we'll find 2 in the round thus far.
And this was just kind of a unfortunate timing for Ole Miss Red. They tried to send a couple players through that smoke, I believe. Mensa and Fib just hit the brakes as soon as they realized that the smoke maybe wasn't where they necessarily wanted it to be. Gamer Dude will not expect to see Mensa in the corner, and now it just comes down to, will Mensa stay here? He will. He's got some good help from Fib, and they will aggro peek over to Z. The challenge is good. Where's the trade? Creep nor Ice found the trade back. Creep will finally find a pick. And now it's a 2v2. Not a lot of time to play here, though. And for MSU, what looked to be a solid setup for them initially, there's no trade to follow up, and now they're just out of time.
They're out of time. I mean, what are you going to do right now? You can't jump up. Creep's like, I don't have a shot. Ice has waited way too long, finds no kills in this round, and this is just Ole Miss Red holding strong, but there's a 1v1. Could maybe see this player. He's going to duck down low, so Creep unable to deal with him. He's going to maybe find him now. Oh, he does actually grab it. That was chalking up the round. I guess he's going to hold strong. Heard the player, so big clutch factor for Creep here as he finds the 1v2. I would say more than anything, Ole Miss Red kind of threw that one away.
Definitely felt that way. A little bit of a weird, awkward moment there because I wasn't sure if Creep saw him initially move over to his left. He was right in front of him. So now 4-2 the score. Mississippi State get gifted around there at the very last 0.1 second of the round by the looks of it. Mensa, who's 11-4 for Ole Miss Red, is wondering what went wrong that round. And will, once again, Ole Miss Red will just go ahead and hit the B bomb site. And how about this? Mississippi State realizing that it's been nothing but B so far, will actually stack this bomb site with 3 players.
It's very smart. You might as well. But Ice is going to be the one that actually finds the first blood. This time they're ready for the trade. So this is already going to be 2 members down for each squad. Bomb is right out front the door. So this is MSU actually holding on to a good defensive hold around this B bomb site. They only have the 1 member that's inside, but they have a player that's, I believe, watching that cross. And everybody on the side of Ole Miss Red playing a bit safe. But player number 4, I think we can switch to him. Skeeman's the one that's actually trying to make the play right now. You can see that he's inside, so he does have the information. This could actually even opt in for a bomb plant, but members creeping down the stairs. He's going to take him out. Perk could find 2. Is going to shoot the scaffolding a bit, so now 2v2.
There are players here, the defensively, Z being one of them from the outside portion of this window. Austin wanted the challenge, but isn't going to find the player. Will re-peek it and will likely meet his doom here. It's a 2v1, and Creep is still not in the area to find the trade away. Bomb has been re-picked up, and, well, Creep will hold the outside L angle and will take down a kill. It's 3 in a row for Mississippi State, and now 2 successful defenses at B. If you're Ole Miss Red, I think it's time to start switching things up a little bit offensively.
I would say so. Try and go back to the other bomb site, or at least try and just throw something in there that's a little bit different, because it's very clear that MSU are starting to adapt to the play style that you're currently putting on these offensive rounds. So MSU now finding 3 rounds straight. This is going to give them a little bit of that oomph they've clearly been missing so far in this series. And you also start to think, as Ole Miss right in the back of your head, holy, we were up 4-0. We've lost 3 rounds straight. If you don't close this one out, then you know that MSU is starting to get right into their comfort zone.
Comes down to MSU. Can you put together a more successful opening part of an offense? Trophy system will take care of a smoke. Ice just misses Mensa. And the nade,
oh my god,
not inside the house. And Ice is the one challenging, but he's challenging with the pistol. Gamer Dude's trying to watch the tight corner. There are shots nearby. No one wants the peek. Gamer Dude gets taken out.
Wow.
Ice was able to at least find a trade pick, but it's just down to Creep for a 1v3, and what is a disastrous opening of an offense there for MSU.
And you saw that nade come through shift. You're like, oh no, oh no.
Yeah.
Now Creep, he pulled off a pretty miraculous round a couple rounds ago. It does actually find good shots on the finish. This is a doable round. This is a very doable round. A 1v1, and Skeeman just gonna pop a 180. Says, nope, I am out of here. I'm backing up. I'm gonna give you the plant. And you have to assume, if you're Creep, that this player is going to be close and nearby. But Skeeman's got a very good position. It's likely going to find Creep on this movement right towards the bomb. There's only 10 seconds left. The shots are good. So Creep gonna hold on, or rather going to see this player hold on, take down Creep on that rotation. So Ole Miss gonna find a big round, but if Creep found a 1v3 here to tie things up, man, that would have been just completely bad news for Ole Miss.
Oh, absolutely, especially considering that's a repeat 1v1 of how the round previously for MSU's offense had ended. But this time it goes the other way. So 5-3, the score. Ole Miss Red would love to see them go up 2-0 against their in-state counterparts and rivals. It looks like Mentz is finally getting a little bit of help here. He's 12-6. Fib 7-7. Austin 5-6. Skeeman with that previous kill moves to 4-6. And on the opposite side for MSU, it's been Creep really kind of holding down the workload. And once again, Ole Miss Red, it's been all offense towards B. This time, it's Chris who gets detonated off the push. And you got to figure, for MSU, you should know that that means that there's going to be an aggressive push into B. Gamer Dude finds one as he switches over to an SMG. Perk another. And Ole Miss Red, this was figured out a couple offenses ago. The fact that they're continuing to headstrong rush into B leaves questions. As Creep finds one, it's just down to Mensa for what is essentially a 1v5.
Very difficult. Very clear. Creep's going to give him a second kill. So 1v3. And now the players on MSU just have to play close. You have to play tight. He still has to go for a plan. There's not a whole lot of time on the clock. He's going to challenge out. So good angle. Going to be held. MSU going to keep themselves alive in our second map. Going to keep things at 5-4. But it almost felt like the side of Ole Miss Red were maybe trying to play that mind game shift where it's like, all right, we know we've gotten shut down twice in a row on this offense over towards this B bomb site. There's no way we go there another time, is there? Well, there is. It's read perfectly, and MSU now going to find themselves a fourth round, keeping themselves alive going in towards round number 10. We'll see what they decide to do on this offense.
And it feels like it's going to be a B hit. Sure will. Ole Miss Red will have 2 players defensively over here. That's Austin, who's playing from inside the house. Skeeman will be playing just outside. Z will toss a smoke towards the missile launchers. Look up top for the first blood, doesn't get the kill, but Austin is tagged up and is forced to give up the angle. And with that, Mississippi State very appropriately starts to dig on forward. And here's even better. Treep is actually watching the outside. Oh, he doesn't actually fully get the kill. Gabardine will find 1. Now it's Ice responsible for the side window. You got to get this bomb planted sooner rather than later, though. Shots coming through the windows over from the A rotation. And you got to be careful. Z saw the flashlight of the sniper rifle and will back away. And Ice at low HP tries to take a challenge versus Steven and has faults. Now Ole Miss Red on the retake. It's looking pretty good. It's a 4-on-2.
Oh, Skeeman, you don't have to challenge that right now, but the bomb's going to be going down, so Z needs to try and take this player off of it. He's going to throw the nade, but it doesn't matter. Ole Miss Red going to hold strong in around number 10. Will not allow there to be a round number 11. But it's definitely a very questionable map, I would say, for both teams for a lot of the decision making. But at the end of the day, if you're Ole Miss, you do close out the map. You put yourself up 2-0 in the series. And coming back to our factor about playoffs right now, it seems like Ole Miss Red have a bit of practice underneath them for as far as clutching up in these big scenarios, having the momentum now going in towards this map number 3. Things looking very scary for Mississippi State.
Yeah, I mean, again, you talk about the playoff implications. The hopes are still relatively low for Ole Miss Red because they are only 8-7. This would put them at 9-7, but they would have to win their second game that they have lined up just to make sure they're even in a spot where they could potentially contest. And like you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Austin, it's against their other team, the Ole Miss Blue team, which they should not have a problem with, you would figure. So, but the bigger key is the fact that they take this 3-0. And if they could beat Ole Miss Blue 3-0, it gives them the best chance possible to potentially be in the playoffs. It would still have to come off the back end of some luck, though, because they would essentially have to hope that Florida State, who I believe still has 3 games left, would have to lose at least 2 of them as I check to see who they have to play up against. They've got Alabama and Arkansas plus LSU. So it's not out of their own possibility that Florida State could lose to Alabama. Probably would, I would imagine. And they very well could still lose to Arkansas. And LSU are not necessarily slouches. They've put together an okay season. They're sitting in 11th at 6-5. So, again, if you get 2 3-0s for Ole Miss Red, your playoff hopes are right on the mark. You could very well still slip in as the 8th seed.
I'd say so. And, talking about that, finding the 3-0s in particular, that's what's really important because, again, these ties can start to play a little bit of a problem for you. If you're trying to find your way in towards the playoffs, it's going to be down towards map count. So it's so chaotic in the Southeast Division for us, but it makes things that much more exciting. All of these wins and all of these games overall that have to be played out are so very important for you. But we'll take a look at the score. Of course, if you missed the first game, it was 250-154 on the Azir K. Just pure dominance and great rotations all around the board from Ole Miss Red. And then that last search and destroy 6-4 holdout. A little bit scary, a little bit shaky, but nonetheless, it closed. But we go to Hackney Yard domination with the way the first respawn played and the way the subs were firing on all cylinders shift. That's what really worries me because that's Azir K. That's an AR dominant map, and the subs were getting the kills that they were in towards the 30s, and we're going in towards a much smaller map where the subs are going to be even more effective here for Ole Miss Red.
And I guess the good news, if you're to take that same narrative but flip the other side of the story, Mississippi State, again, they weren't really able to match up very well with the AR presence. Now that you don't have to worry about going AR to AR, could you potentially find some extra favor in the SMG gameplay where you're not necessarily just looking at individuals who are going to be sitting here essentially just, playing 1v1s? You got a little bit of help potentially here coming into the mix. But my biggest thing when it comes to Hackney Yard Dom here, Austin, is I believe we're about ready to get into game. It just comes down to all of those mid-round adaptations where things start to get a little bit hectic, where the spawns that aren't necessarily where you want them to be, where you start spawning towards the office, where you start spawning a little bit further away from the A flag than you would like. How do you respond to the pressure? And for Mississippi State, so far, they have not really controlled and dictated the pace or tempo of this matchup. So if you're Ole Miss Red, you've got to keep laying on the gas and force Mississippi State to be making very clutch decisions in these chaotic times.
And those decisions have to be done from one of your vocal leaders. It's hard to say, whether or not a lot of these college teams actually have somebody that's able to step up and be that vocal leader and that captain per se. But you definitely know for Ole Miss that they definitely do. Mensa can be a very vocal player here for a squad, but you need that for Mississippi State. Who's that going to be? You don't have a player that we mentioned is such an impactful player for this roster, and the reason why they have seen some success in their missing state. So we see a couple of players that are able to go big in a few of these games. Z particular in map number 1, Perk in map number 2, but you need consistency across the board. You need everybody to be on the same page. On a map like Hackney Yard, there was very little time and very little room for mistakes on a map like this. But off the bat, Ole Miss Red, they're going to continue the dominance on their respawn, get 3 down, and might just be an opening on towards the B flag already.
But nobody really gets on top of it, which is a little strange. Bib, who's just holding down the alleyway, will keep spamming through. We'll find one, goes up for a second challenge, and I don't think either player saw each other. Only one more bullet was left. We'll find the kill, but again, this is a little bit of a mistake here for Ole Miss Red. They get the kills early, but it takes them a good 30 seconds before they even set foot onto the B flag. They'll eventually capture it here. But again, Ole Miss really kind of a little bit of a slower start than you would have liked, and they've opened up some space where the A flag's nearly been neutralized.
Well, that was really weird. Player number 5 just actually spawned back green. They're going to backtrack because they're fighting over the home flag, trying to get A. This looks like it will be a neutralized. Keeman's got a big one-on-one to win. He's going to shoot. He does end up grabbing it here, and now this might just be a quick moment of a 3 cap, but A is going to be secured. So C and B going over to MSU. The overextension playing a little bit of an important factor as they're now trying to hold on to the 2 cap, but C, player number 5, has made the rotation over, and now this is going to put MSU in a world of hurt.
And this is, again, MSU. You have one player who faded back for the C flag, and you got to know that you've got teammates over at A. You need to give this up, although he's able to get the full capture. So if you're a gamer, dude, don't even peek your corners. The best thing you can do right now is either make your way over towards A or just die on the way there as he sees a teammate spawn right with him. Ole Miss Red, with all this extra numbers pressure, will flip the spawns back. And again, I get it. You get a little bit of a moment of a triple cap, but you had the potential, if you're Mississippi State, to flip the spawns around convincingly, but Gamer Dude goes for the triple cap and maybe costs them the A side flip.
I would say Ole Miss Red, they played that out very, very well. They all backtrack to the same flag, and that's what you need to see from the squad. But now they're going to try and break through. Perk is going to find himself a big 2-piece in this B warehouse, finding 3 with the help of his teammates. So big kills coming down. Back to the CB hold. MSU starting to rack up a little bit of a lead here. Creep's going to hold on towards the close corner. Almost looked like it was a team kill, but he's going to push right out. And this is what you love to see, Shift. They get the kills in the warehouse. They flip out some of these spawns, and they're going to now go for the favorable side once again.
And for Ole Miss Red, you had 2 players who were working through the office after the flank, and when you know that you've got teammates that are fighting outside the B warehouse, you gotta immediately cut mid-map and come back to A. They will eventually do that, but again, it comes at the cost of Mississippi State putting some extra pressure, not only on the A flag, but they've done a pretty decent job of making the warehouse stays in their control. Creep will find himself another kill, 4 straight now for him as he puts together another. Ice for the trade onto Perk, and just like that, is Mississippi State once again back into the A flag.
Creep, big one-on-one for him. We're going to see him actually win it onto Mensa, so they're going to go for another attack towards A. We also saw a bit of a spree. I'm not sure what player that was, but starting to rack up these kills for MSU. They're in a great spot. They're going for the 3 cap here. There's still 1:45 seconds on the clock to pick up a lot of time before you go in towards side 2. Gamer Dude's now on a 5 spree, and the side of Ole Miss are now having to backtrack again, but they're getting so many flip spawns across the map. They have to dedicate themselves, like they did a few minutes ago, towards an actual home flag. They all have to come back to the same side of the map, and they have to try and find a cap, but Gamer Dude is being that nuisance. He's going to clear out the flag, and there is no points coming in. Finally, they're going to get over to C, but Ole Miss Red, they are just struggling to actually hold a dedicated flag setup.
The decision-making has been questionable, to say the least, for Ole Miss Red. They continue to spawn near C, but everyone wanted to commit to hitting the OE to A, leaving a lot of time for Mississippi State and the Bulldogs to find a triple cap for the second time. That one much more elongated than the first, but the only difference maker in this one is the fact that Mississippi State made the right play. They got the C cap and then immediately gave up the C flag for an extended period of time, so now they've got the A side of the map for the potential last 45 seconds. Ole Miss Red having a tough time even getting close to the warehouses. Z's on 6 straight. 10 and 6. We'll see one more out the top L window. We'll get a chance for it. That's number 7. And now it's just watch players come off spawn while he holds his top L hallway.
Struggling to still even get their way in towards any part of the map. It just seems like MSU is everywhere, and they're just finding 2-piece after 2-piece. No one able to get any breathing room. Z finds kill number 8. Could look for number 9. There's only 20 seconds left in the round, but MSU are still holding strong with the 2-cap in their favor. There is kill number 9. 13 and 6 for this man. Z really going big. Had a great map number 1. Can't find kill number 10 before we go in towards the second side, but that's all fine and dandy because look at the score shift, 45 to 110. There is a massive deficit, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure MSU now go on the favorable side for the side too.
They do. Terrifying scenes there. In the last 2.5 minutes, if you're an Ole Miss Red fan, wow. 60-point-plus lead here for MSU. And we'll just see how much further can that kill spree go. It was at what, 9? Is that what the last we saw it?
9.
We'll find out. 10 should pop up on our little bottom user bar in the top middle. So we'll see if he can find it. Perk for first blood. Shots are good for Z, but he does get taken down immediately. And Ole Miss Red do a nice job of cutting into the warehouse early. They stopped Mississippi State from getting the B flag, and they will actually put it in their possession here early.
They stacked a lot of members of the warehouse. All 5 of them are actually in the warehouse right now. This opens up the map a little bit because they're stacking way too much in here. Kyrus is going to find himself a little bit of an assistance kill there. Ice stops 2 of them from pushing through, but this does open up an opportunity for you now to go for the flip yourself. So this player that went all the way to C actually misplayed things out a bit because now they're getting this green spawn where you can get spawn trapped. And we see this so often. Ice has to fight out of this area. So what was a very good spot for MSU coming off the start of the round is now going to be a flip of the map. They're going to be right back where they were, so they have to try and hold on towards the C flag at the very least and get in towards B, but they are still with a massive lead shift, and we're going to have to see Ole Miss Red likely even maybe go for a neutralize or at least hold the 2-cap for the remaining of this side.
Yeah, they're going to need a little bit of a neutralization, I believe. It's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight. If they hold A and B the entire time, it's going to be darn close. Right around the mix of them tying things up. But yeah, neutralization will make life a lot easier when it comes to that decision making. Creep snaps onto 1, but it's not going to be enough damage dealt for MSU to fully break into the B warehouse. Ice from behind wants to flip over to A. He's got teammates pushing through the OE to help him, and with that final kill on Mensa, that should be a spawn flip, and it is. And Fib, who just spawned right in front of the C flag, is going to immediately go back over to the B warehouse. Same thing is going to happen here for Austin, and again, you don't have really enough numbers here to fully flip the A flag. You would like to see somebody from Ole Miss Red who spawned up just to go for at least that neutralization at C.
This is good, though. The side of Ole Miss do backtrack to the same side, so now they're looking to attack from the same side, and they are together. So that will be a couple of kills that do drop down. Creep is going to stop the push, followed by Ice with a kill onto Fib. So 3 down, and the side of Ole Miss Red have to try and push out of this spawn. Ice is just laying down patiently, and we are going to see Carvis sniff him out and take him down. So big kill from him, but again, they have to get in towards the 2-cap. They're going to go all the way to C, but they might just flip things back around again, Shift, as we've seen this so many times. You can't go for the C flip because it always flips back to the other side. They're going to hold on towards A and B now for MSU. They're not going to have the favorable spawns, and this is just kind of shooting yourself in the foot a bit with only 2 minutes left on the clock.
It was the right choice. You don't want to make that decision to get the C flag, but they didn't have enough numbers to really influence the A flag, so that's the right call to at least get yourself 1 flag. But again, 2 minutes left in a 55-point game. It's becoming near mathematically impossible sooner rather than later here. It's going to have to be a significant amount of triple cap time plus neutralization pretty much from here on out, and it doesn't look like MSU is going to give them much of a chance at that. As a player spawns over by the office, I imagine you'll see one of them just go to the C flag to make sure they hold on to 1 flag, and they will. So there will be a small moment of triple cap here for the side of Ole Miss Red, but it'll be just that. Actually, doesn't even turn into a full moment of triple cap because the A flag did not fully get flipped over. And from here on out, it's going to be near mathematically impossible. Time of death will be right around 1:15 seconds, depending on how the last bit of this goes.
Could see maybe a 3-cap still come through. They have to get onto B, or B is actually being held, so they just have to secure C. So they do have a 3-cap. going at the moment, but A is now being taken.
Yeah.
No one is here to deal with Perk, so hard on Hacking Yard to hold a 3-tap. And, you know, really at the very most, I think you can only almost hold a consistent neutralize and 2 flags after it. It just seems like it's just near impossible to actually hold on to a very good 3-cap unless you're just spawning them into green and you're holding every single angle out. That's pretty much the only way I can see it getting done. So it's MSU that find a big response for a shift, and they're going to somehow come alive in this map number 3, which was great from them. But going in towards the map number 4, where we will stay on Hackney Yard, it will be another hard point. Have to see if they can maybe fix some of those big mistakes that they were having in those rotations. And it seems more than anything they're warmed up, so they might have a better chance at actually winning the rotation gunfights and winning their clear one-on-ones. But they definitely still have to work back, because there's a lot of players in Old Miss Red that still have enough in the tank to close things out. And more than anything, it seems like this map was just a little bit unfortunate on the way it was played out here for Old Miss.
Yeah, and again, you know, we were talking a lot about how Old Miss Red could potentially find their way in the playoffs. On the other side, now that we can start talking about a potential reverse sweep to set up narratively for Mississippi State, you know, it's not just get past Old Miss Red and reverse sweep. You also have to essentially beat the University of Louisiana Lafayette, which is a tall task. So MSU will take the win here on map number 3, 185 to 120. But again, you know, would have loved to have seen this go a little bit more convincingly, I think, in the first couple of maps for Mississippi State's perspective, just to keep you in it. Not saying it's not a real possibility for them to reverse sweep here, but it's one of those things that a 3-2 scoreline for either of these teams makes stuff a little bit more difficult when it comes to potential tiebreakers. As a reminder, it will go head-to-head first and then map count. So again, we're kind of framing up the potential if there were to be a 3-way tie for 8th. That's when map counts would come into play, I imagine, more than anything else. So a lot of things still to consider when it comes to potential playoff implications here in the Southeast. But for Mississippi State, you got to find the reverse sweep plus win one more match before your regular season is over if you want to have a chance at playoffs. For Ole Miss Red, you would love to see a 3-1 here. Plus, you still have to beat your in-house rival of Ole Miss Blue to have a chance. Plus, you need some help from Florida State to lose a couple of matches. So a lot of playoff implications to dance between, but at least specifically for this matchup head-to-head, a much better look, like you mentioned, for Mississippi State and the Hackney Yard Dom.
Well, I think the biggest thing was that there was consistent through the board. We got to take a small look at that scoreboard, and all of them dropping 20s. I don't know if it was maybe a host change or maybe what played a factor there for us, but it definitely seemed like they were able to get everybody firing and coming alive here. With the loss of State, you needed that, and they bring it in map 3. So we go into the Hackney Yard hard point, and we'll see if they can continue to keep that consistency across the board. That's really the big thing that I think we have to continue to watch for. You have to watch also for Iced and Z. I think are the 2 key players to really continue to bring that success in towards our 4th map here for their squad. Try and carry them in towards a Piccadilly Search and Destroy, where they have had a decent track record overall as a game mode. They fall short a little bit in that map number 2, but they have the chance to redeem themselves. So there is a very high possibility to pull off the reverse sweep. Again, looking at key players to kind of get them to the map 5 will be the big factor for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to come by way of SMG, you figure. And just, again, we talked about what happened at the Zero Cave. It just felt like Mississippi State was on the back foot for a lot of the rotations on that map. Of course, this one a little bit smaller, but the rotations just as implementally important. So it's going to be down to, can MSU really turn things up and really kind of start playing at a faster pace to kind of match up against this Ole Miss Red squad. It will be Ole Miss Red on the favored side near the tire shop for their spawn. So Mississippi State, you would love to win these opening engagements and start putting some pressure on those P2 spawns as early as humanly possible.
Absolutely would. Austin and Fib both grab themselves a couple. Fib actually starts off on a bit of a streak here with 2. Gonna get this bottom L. Doesn't want to hold on to it, but it's gonna turn and burn. Looks for the pre-fire. Almost finds Perk, but he's the one that entries in with Fib. Has to look for a second. His Scheming sitting in the hill, but he wins his one-on-one, but pushing through his ice. He was the air player from last game. We saw him putting in multiple kills into the feed. Can't get it done on this first push. So MSU finally touched the hill and look to try and close this lead that Ole Miss Red have already built up.
Opening 14 seconds, not bad for Ole Miss Red. Mostly just keeping the pressure off of them having to work their way through and contest this first hard point. Now all of a sudden, it will be that contest coming in. Z with an important fight to win, plus a second. Will not get the second one up though versus Fib. Gamer Dude will find that trade, so now the last 14 seconds will likely go in favor of Mississippi State, but it'll only result in about a 15-point or so lead. And the more important thing is, how do you structure your offensive hit here to try to break this second-point hard point?
35 seconds, not too bad off the first kills. You see the spray and pray go down, but Ice has to find a couple of these entry kills. Another one on his left and his right, dealt with by Fib, who is going to find the good trades back and forth. So still trying to break the line of defense here. That's really the big problem with this hill, is it's so hard to get past that brick wall. You can see it 4 down, and you maybe only have enough time for one more push shift before you really start chalking up and rotating the third.
Yeah, this is tough. Flat out, again, the timing of this is going to be really awkward for Mississippi State. You feel like you kind of have to contest at least some of the ground here in the last 30 seconds, and a couple of kills do come through, but the time is ticking away, and even if you get a break here, Ole Miss Red's going to have the opportunity to set themselves up for a potential P3, and you can see MSU will just give up this last bit of rotation and get themselves set up for the smokestack.
Ice is on 5. He's 9-6. He's trying to stop a lot of these players from moving through the middle of the map. He's got good positioning to actually get this done. He's going to push right up and get right in the face of one of the players. Shuts down Karas and looking for a second as they're all running in towards the warehouse. This is going to be very difficult, but they're going to push through bottom L. The information should still be good for the side of MSU, despite the kills not actually dropping there for Perk, but it doesn't matter. They're going to try and see if they can hold on to top L. Gamer Dude finds himself 1. Perk finds 2. Z also finds 1. So the first actual defensive hold will be good for MSU.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need, as it's going to be a tie game here in just a moment. Maybe potentially the first lead here for Mississippi State as well. One more good hit here for Ole Miss Red as they come through the warehouse. Able to clear off the hard one. Kariz for one more. Ice is able to take down 2, but will eventually be traded. So at least some of the pressure on this third hard point has been neutralized. One more 1v1 will be taken up by Kariz, but he forfeits over the scrap time in favor of trying to make a way over towards the what would be eventually P5 spawns. And at least for that play, he opens up Ole Miss Red to get set up initially for this 4th hard point in the office.
Demon loses his one-on-one on the hill, and we're going to see at least Ole Miss Red try and break in. No one's picking up the time as Austin presses forward, so this is going to be the time now picked up from him. He holds a close angle. His teammates are slaying behind him, but the push now comes through from Z and Creep. They deal with 1. Getting on this head glitch that is so nasty is good for Creep, but he mantles up to the second part. Could have likely held that and stopped this push that came through from Ole Miss Red, but this is Fib already thinking ahead. He's going to try and push through. They have a player that they have to deal with, which is Perk. He just won his one-on-one onto Mensa, who was also thinking and playing for the spawns. Fib just looks to try and play this out, but that's 5 down, and now this could be still a good chance for him to try and flip things out. They're spawning smokestack. I think the information might be good, so they're rotating all the way back. MSU are going to pick up the scrap time. Fib finds the kill on rotation, but he has to deal through and get through a few more. The shots are good onto Ice. This is massive for Ole Miss Red as they're going to flip the spawns out, and now they have favorable spawns for P5.
It was almost a mammoth moment there for MSU if that kill does not go in favor of Fib. Up top in that back warehouse, MSU almost secured the final 25 seconds of scrap, plus had an opportunity to influence the spawns. Fib will find 1 more before eventually getting taken out. Even doing what he can from the top side of the L hallway will also drop. So now for MSU, this is your best look so far to potentially break things open, and Steeman will actually spawn out into the parking lot, but MSU does not win the follow-up gunfights. So Ole Miss Red nearly get broken, but they bend and not fully break, as it looks like they're going to try to hold on to the last part of this last 25 seconds. And while doing that, Steeman is already making a move over to the P2 spawns. He gets Fib to spawn nearby with him. Mensa also here to help. This is a picture-perfect rotation from 5-1 here for Ole Miss Red.
We talked about rotational spawns the other day and how big of a factor they are in this game mode. Well, it will be good here for Ole Miss Red. They have now favorable spawns going in towards the hard point after this, but into the warehouse we will go 135-99. Not out of the water by any means for MSU, but they're going to have to start putting the foot on the gas and try and match some of the kills and tempo that Ole Miss Red are throwing at their faces. Ice up top gets help from his subs to move on in. So first push about to break out for MSU Esports as they're going to have to try and hold strong, but Skiman's going to find himself a big two-piece. Fib follows with one. Mensa also with the kill. Gamerjude, the only one left alive to try and break on in, but Fib has already come back up from his spawn. He's going to land good. The wall bangs through the van, make that 3. Could find 4. This could be 5. Almost finding Creep, but shut down. Hill time still over to Ole Miss Red, however. 20 seconds to be picked up before P2 rotations fall through.
You still have to find a way to not only secure these last handful of seconds for Ole Miss Red, but also work your way in. Kariz, number 3, he was potentially flirting with the idea of hitting the OE, but now it's coming back towards the warehouse entrance, and he gets dealt with. So Mississippi State down, but certainly not out, as we're looking at about a 60-point game here. It's going to be essentially down to what happens on this initial break attempt for Ole Miss Red. It's going to be all coming from outside the warehouse. A couple players now spawning further out, and that's going to be an easy hold for now for Mississippi State. They need these last 45 seconds, though. If they can keep this at about a 10-point deficit, we'll be essentially completely drawn up, and it really will just come down to what happens on P3-4.
Creep just found himself a 3-piece as he is just lighting up the feed at the moment. He's going to find maybe number 4, gets shut down from Skiman, but Z still holding the close angle. Mensa will deal with him, so we could see a successful break still come through potentially, but there's still not a whole lot of time. The spawns are still good by Useless, so no one really able to slip by. We do see now Mensa and his teammate get behind enemy lines, but what are you fighting for? Maybe you hit the hill with 10 seconds left. This is still great for MSU. The break does come through for Fib, but do the spawns flip back over? That's the question. They're going to get the close spawn going in towards the favorable hills going forward, but into the smokestack we will go. This is going to be great for MSU. They find a big 60, and they're keeping the game close.
This comes down to will those last 10 seconds come into play there. You would have loved to have soaked every last second of that second hard point if you're MSU, but at least you found it early, a bit of initial time here in the smokestack. This was a good hill for them last time. They don't get a trophy system down, though, and Z gets taken out, plus 2 more from below the warehouse, and all of a sudden, Mississippi State is spawning right behind the blue van outside P5, and the kills have turned up all in favor of Ole Miss Red, who will step foot onto this third hard point for a small time. Here come the reinforcements, and Perk gets some good help there as he gets credit for the kill. Last 25 seconds to fight for, and again, for MSU, it's not just soaking the majority of this time, but you gotta hold on to the P4 setup in the office as well.
Creep under so much fire, he's literally just laying down, just trying to buy as much time as he can, so Austin puts the knife to his back. Scrap time over to Ole Miss Red. That will allow them to break the 200-point mark. This is going to put them around just over 210. I believe 211 to 171 is what we'll have if they don't grab the actual remaining of the scrap time on P3. But into P4 we will go. MSU will hold on. They don't have the favorable spawns for the next hill. That's something to watch for, and Gamerjude might even be thinking about this going forward, but he only finds one, has to back up to play his life. Trades are good. So break comes through from Ole Miss Red, but Creep walks right back in and will creep up on a player to take him in and out. 40 seconds remaining on the hill. The hill still back and forth constantly. Perk will find one, and now MSU hold on to the hill for now, but at Ole Miss respond just about immediately.
Mensa and Fib do a nice job of pinching things together. Mensa came from up top to the second floor. Now Perk has to cut his way across mid-map. Another big 1v1 happening inside the hill for scrap time will go the way of Z, but again, you can see what Ole Miss is trying to do. They say, give them the last bit of time. As long as we hold off these P5 spawns, we can win the game on this next hill. So it's all about this next rotation. Kariz holding on to what was P3, doing a nice job as he finds himself a number of kills straight. Mensa will find his trade, and now it's up to MSU to restructure themselves and put together a hit to try to break open this P5 hardpoint.
You really have to rally together as a cohesive unit. Find the break. Creep gets them off to a great start. Ice and Z look to pinch out the spawn, so they are spawning out in the middle of the map. This was a successful break for MSU Esports. This is so massive. Ole Miss Red fumble the hold, fumble the setup, and now they're the ones that have to return with a break of their own. 224 to 220. This game neck and neck, and this game can also still be won off this hill for MSU.
And Ice is locking down the yellow side, so it's just up to the SMGs of MSU to just watch from the front, but Fib comes open and finds 2 kills. It took way too long for the trade, and the hill does get broken. Still enough time here, but the pin doesn't come through as Ole Miss Red is trying to work their way back across for what will eventually be P2. It's going to come down to who commits where. There are 4 members for Mississippi State inside the warehouse. They want to win it on the first hard point.
They're thinking ahead. This is so close. It's so neck and neck. Ole Miss Red starting to panic a little bit. They need to wait for each other. You can't solo hit this. This is how you fumble the game completely. Austin finds one, but the trades are strong. Holding out for MSU Esports as they will retake the lead here. This is so massive in the warehouse. The push about to come in again. Creep will find one. Burke finds a second. Breaking in is going to be Finn, but he's unable to find anything as Creep shuts them down with 8 seconds remaining to close this out. Ice with a very big snap. Will find the help with the second from Gamer Dude. Now they just have to run on in, but MSU will hold on. They retake the lead and will close out map number 4, 250 to 230.
And Fib was right there. He found 2 kills. He just needed to get on the hill and find the third. And this was the play for him to break up the setup initially. But like you mentioned, it was a fumble of the 5th hardpoint by Ole Miss Red, and eventually comes around to bite them in the butt. And what a committal call there for MSU to say, don't even worry about the P2 spawn. Just everybody get into the warehouse, get our trophy systems down. And that will send us to map number 5, Piccadilly, for the Search and Destroy.
Wow. What a game number 4. This is also, for anyone that's just tuning in, this is a potential reverse sweep that now is on the table for Mississippi State. And we go back to how those first 2 maps were played out. And maybe now we just think, okay, well, maybe Mississippi State just was not warmed up. In fact, before we even jumped in towards map number 1, Ole Miss Red were in a scrim playing. And maybe they were just a little bit hotter than Mississippi State coming in. So this is a massive opportunity to go into Piccadilly Search and Destroy, which I will add a map that some teams just aren't fully actually kind of set up on, or maybe have an idea on how they want to play it, because it's not played and put into the rotation very often for us and vetoed out a lot of the time shift. We could see a little bit of discomfort coming in towards our map number 5 for even potentially both of these teams.
Yeah, very well could. Again, Search and Destroy scrims are not common for a lot of players, not just in the CCL, but across the board. It's one of those things that you sit and you theory craft more than it feels like you actually scrim. We'll see exactly how things occur, because again, like you mentioned, Piccadilly is one of those maps that you either have it perfected, it feels like, or you absolutely don't. So we'll see what both of these teams have to offer. I believe our lobby is ready, so if we're good to go, we can just jump straight in for map number 5. Again, this is a rivalry series here.
Yeah.
Mississippi State and Ole Miss Red. Not happening at the Egg Bowl this time around, occurring online, but it's not just a rivalry for the state of Mississippi. This is potentially a rivalry matchup that has playoff implications for both of our squads.
Playoff implications. We've touched on it so many times about how this is so big. Like, this is 9th versus 10th. Ole Miss Red being 10th, Mississippi State being at that 9th place. This is just so impactful to really look at going in towards the map number 5, because it's going to be the side of Mississippi State that are carrying the momentum in. And I touched on it before we jumped in towards the Arklov Peak, but overall, Mississippi State have looked genuinely decent in this game mode. They fumble the map number 2, which overall just felt like a little bit of a late response to the setup that Ole Miss Red was doing, but it seemed like they were just a one-trick pony, and that was the factor for Arklov Peak. So what's the factor for Piccadilly? Are they a one-trick pony going for one bomb site time and time again? And a lot of Search and Destroy is about problem solving. It's about fixing and adapting on the fly to how your opponents are playing things out. We know sniper play comes into Piccadilly a little bit. We did see the sniper play from Ice, who had a slow start to the series, but has been heating up from the domination, from the hard point, and it's a possibility we might just see the boomstick in his hands here once again, going in with a little bit more momentum here for himself and a little bit more warmed up.
Here's the thing too, Austin, again, where Ole Miss Red was most successful offensively was with SMGs. You're not going to find that same kind of success on a map like Piccadilly. Exactly. You don't really have the option to go to one bomb site or the other and mostly hold on to SMGs and find success. This map is heavily dictated by ARs and snipers. Yeah, Arklov Peak is as well, but you can still come up with a couple of dead silence SMG pushes towards that B site on your offense. And we saw Ole Miss Red also wanted to play aggressively defensively with SMGs and dead silent smoke pushes. Those things are harder to pull off on a map like Piccadilly, because they could just be essentially lasered down by ARs at long range. My other follow-up question, though, is we were mentioning for Zero Cave and Arklov Peak, because Mississippi State has not showcased incredible AR gameplay yet. It's going to have to be here, though. They're going to have to find a way to lock down these lines of sight, make sure that at least defensively they're staying complete and whole, and they're not giving out opportunity where Ole Miss Red could just dive right through, because it does feel like, based on how they play the Arklov Peak, Ole Miss likes to hit, and they like to hit hard.
Yeah, like they hit fast, and smoke's obviously a big factor. And you talk about AR play, you have to talk about Ice. He's the one that's going to either bring out the boomstick or bring out the assault rifle. Again, he comes off of two big hot performances, in my opinion, at least for as far as what he was dropping in numbers. He was able to be that sign of light for the squad, and really just drop down, hold positions, and lock down a lot of these big kills, which is a big factor for Piccadilly. But there's also a lot of openings for Piccadilly. We mentioned, a firm hit that can come through, a very aggressive hit that is likely to maybe be strategized for the side of Old Miss Red. But there's a lot of openings in this map where you can see a lot of flank plays come through the middle of the buses. There's a lot of attention that gets drawn towards one bomb site, and that opens up for flanks to also drop into a map like Piccadilly when dead balance is up and available. Just because of how this map is played out, I'm sure the community has an overall opinion about this map for a shift. But I mean, at the very least, it is a map that a lot of different strats can come in towards play, and a lot of different play styles can work for both of these squads here.
Yeah, 100%. Take a look to see what exactly occurs and how successful some of those flank plays might happen to be, if successful at all. Countdown has started in our lobby. We're jumping in. It's map number 5 of the Battle of Mississippi. MSU putting together potentially a reverse sweep. It would have to be completed here on Piccadilly. And after a 6-4 Arklov peak that went in favor of Ole Miss Red, can they find more strands of success on potentially getting aggressive with their SMG gameplay? Only time will tell as we dig on. And I'm also most excited to see who's on offense first, as far as who exactly is going to try to offer us potentially that opening aggressive. And it's going to be Ole Miss Red on the attack. Where do they go, and what is their setup? Because I have a feeling it's going to be likely a hit towards A if they want to get aggressive quickly, and that looks to be the case as a couple members already pushed through the arcade.
We hear sniper shots go down, so there is sniper play in towards our round, but they're able to actually get some good control. Ice is going to find the first blood. Perez is the one that's going to be responding, watching top Nike for that player that might just look to over peak. So first pick comes through. Ole Miss Red kind of puts a little bit of a damper to the push that looked a little bit aggressive, but Ice is the one, again, that's backing up, going to stop these guys from getting in towards the bomb site. But 30 seconds left as the bomb actually did go down. That's good shots from Perk. Now it's up to 3 members of Ole Miss Red to hold the defensive line, but Gamer Dude walks on up. He's going to get hit by a stun. He looks like he knows that Mensa is here. He might just look for the bomb. Ice finds another pick, and now it's all up to Cars with the sniper. He has to get over towards the bomb site. He pops the Deddy, but unable to get there in time. So MSU, they find a successful retake on the defensive round and go up by 1.
Here's where it went wrong for Ole Miss Red. 2 SMG pushes, one early, trying to make his way up mid-buses, gets picked by Ice. The second was Fib, trying to work his way into the shoe shop. He gets taken down by an AR. And if these SMG players for Ole Miss Red cannot find their way into the backline of MSU, it's going to be very difficult for them to ever fully have a good post-plant setup on the A site with that meta, where they're running 2 SMGs and 3 long range. So now it's down to, what do you do to respond here? And if for MSU, where do you want to go? They're going to smoke out A, throw a couple of nades behind it. C will immediately pop himself between the bomb site and the tent, and he's going to get this bomb planted.
He gets it down. Creep finds the opening pick. Skeeman finds the trade to the bomb planter. Nade also good for Mensa. Looks to get some good positioning here on some of this high ground. Doesn't see anything. Ice finds another, I believe that was a pick with a sniper. So he's keeping the sniper out. He's 3-0, having a great game onto Piccadilly. 3v3. Push about to come through as Gamer Dude opens up on a Skeeman. Austin has to come in the back, has a couple of members to try and get through, a Perk will not allow him. And now it's all up to Mensa. Going to find a nice snap. Almost finds 2. Oh, that would have been close. But MSU hold on. Great attack. They do exactly what Ole Miss Red tried to do, but clearly much better as they're the ones that find a successful round number 2.
And the big difference maker again, Creep finds one pick right off on a shoe shop, but Iced holds a different angle than Kariz did on the post plant with the sniper rifle, which allowed him to get a kill on transition, watching defenders come from the B bomb site. This has been a much better look as far as the early setups for MSU so far up against this Ole Miss squad. What changes and when does it change? Again, it never did for Ole Miss Red. They kept going to the B side on Arklov Peak. Will we continue to see them be stubborn and make their way over to the A bomb site here on Piccadilly? So far seems to be the case as the bomb starts to lean that direction. Mensa will go up and over the block subway entrance to find himself the same angle he played last time. And it just comes down to what happens mid-map here. Kariz is now sitting with Austin to potentially work mid-map, but Z finds first blood. Gamer Dude, another. Both of those were mid-map, and just like this, Ole Miss Red down 3v5, and they don't even have the bomb planted yet.
Well, if this ever a problem, round number 3, you have all the members now closing in on you. Z takes a nade up top, so the information's good that he's up here, but they don't find the kill. That's really the problem, as they have, again, so many ARs on MSU Esports that are watching all these long lines of sights. Mensa might just have to pull off the play. I think you do. I think you just have to go up for a big challenge here, try to find this kill. He does, but Ice has found his teammate. Perk will find Scheme, and now Mensa, that makes the successful play up top, is caught in a 1v4. 30 seconds on the clock, gets shut down by, I believe that was Gamer Dude. So MSU are going to pull ahead with 3 straight rounds.
Look, if Ole Miss Red is going to early smoke, double smoke like they just did, and not find a way to get either into the shoe shop or get the bomb down, you got to stop going A. It's just flat out. There's just no way you're going to find success if you don't do one of those 2 things when you use all of your smoke to try to get that offensive hit early. On the backside of it, good counter nade pressure for MSU to make sure the bomb could never come down. Plus, of course, getting the picks mid-map. It's just, again, we're seeing Ole Miss Red is trying to play aggressive, and through the smoke, Ice rolls the dice and finds Scheme. First blood again to Mississippi State. Ice will find one more, and Ole Miss Red are just peeking him in really awkward spots. Yeah, the first kill's impressive, but Mensa's just looking at him, waiting for essentially his head to get taken off.
And now it's all up to Chris, who's like, where is my team? And you really just have to assume MSU are just find this last kill. When Ice is doing a little 360 before he snipes the cross and then ends up finding the dome of one of your players, that's how you know that smile is lighting up on his face right now. Finds a couple in that round. Gamer Dude, I believe, also finding a couple for himself. This is just looking like a complete flip of how map number 2 was going for us, where Ole Miss Red were the ones that led with a 4-0 lead, and now that's flipped over to MSU Esports.
Ole Miss Red, set something up towards B here. You can't keep going A. If you're going to keep trying to fumble around with who's sniping, who's playing ARs, Mensa's going over towards B initially. Bomb is already pushed up to A, though. This is a one-dimensional play. Gamer Dude finds his 5th kill onto Kariz. Bomb's gonna get planted, and again, it was an opening shot, and Z, wow, what? Somehow just finds that kill through the smoke, and now it's a 5-on-3, and Ole Miss Red is all over the map. No one's really in a good position to watch over the top of the bomb, and MSU is surgically making their way across the mid-map. It's just really down to, can Scheme or Mensa find a way to clutch up? Scheme gets caught in a very open corner, and Mensa's nowhere near this bomb at the moment.
Gonna try and get to it. It gets cut down. 5 rounds straight. Ole Miss Red can't even get themselves on the board. This is a struggle and a half. No matter what they try and do, they're being shut down. And I brought up a factor before we jumped in towards the match shift was, well, are they going to be one-trick ponies like they were in the Arc Law peak? And that's holding strong. They're making the same hit time and time again, and they're not being successful. They haven't found one successful round over towards the offense, and they're continuing to try and make this work despite it being shut down every time from MSU. So MSU are going to go back on towards this offense. We have to get on board with Ice, I feel like, at the start of this round, as he's going to be the one that's trying to find these picks. He's been great thus far. The smokes are good. He's going to find another one. He is 7-in-1. I believe all 7 kills coming from the sniper.
Pull out the upside down Baroom. It's going to be a reverse sweep as another kill comes through. Bomb planted. Austin will find one, but that's a kill that's on the back end that could be responded to by Creep. It sure will be. Mensa from the side of the bus is trying to make something happen.
Wow.
Gamer Dude for 2, and it's a 6-0 as Mississippi State will take the reverse sweep. And talk about potential playoff implications. That now pushes them to 10-6, which by record gives them one more win than Florida State. Florida State did beat Mississippi State, though. So it really comes down to, for Mississippi State, what happens for you next? You have to play the University of Louisiana Lafayette, and you essentially have to win it. Plus, you have to hope that Florida State at least drops 2 games versus the University of Alabama and the University of Arkansas. They also play LSU Esports, but MSU with their own future in their hands, and for Ole Miss, that will be the end of their season, as they have got no way of making the playoffs really at this point.
Wow, that's all I have to say after that one, Shift. Wow, the map number 3, turning the tides in the domination, bringing things back map by map, kill by kill, play by play, and they get the job done. Piccadilly, a map that either you're familiar with or you're not, and you hit the big point before we jumped in towards it. It did not look like the side of Old Miss Red were very comfortable on that Piccadilly map. They just did not look to utilize other parts of the map that you can on the offense, and they didn't have a sniper that was able to match Ice. And the sniper play is so impactful due to how open some areas can be. Ice really stepping it up for me, almost I want to say player of the game in those last 3 that kind of regrouped and brought the team together. You see the final scores that drop down, completing that reverse sweep, and like you mentioned, 10-6 now for Mississippi State, trying to close in on that 8th spot.
It really just going to be interesting to watch what happens with the rest of the Southeastern Division. Essentially, again, like you mentioned, Ole Miss Red, at least as far as I'm gathering, won't have a chance unless University of Alabama drops like all of their games. That might be the only other thing, but they play Ole Miss Blue, should be a win. They play LSU, should be a win. They play Concord Gray, should be a win. So Alabama should be fine. The other side of things is for the Mississippi State squad, it really comes down to, okay, you have to beat University of Louisiana Lafayette, and then past that, you're hoping that Florida State finds a way to lose 2 of their last 3. But we're not done with the Southeastern Division here, Austin. Coming up next, we've got the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. The Volunteers will be playing up against one of the front runners in the Southeast of the Full Sail Armada. That'll be our second and final match of the evening here for the CCL. If you're just joining us for the first time, good to see you. If you're joining us back, see you back. Also, keep in mind that we have a second stream going on Thursday, where we've got 3 really good matchups also scheduled for that evening. I believe that one's actually starting at 7:30, but you're not going to want to go too far, so make sure you hit the follow button on the stream and follow College Cod on Twitter at College Cod. And for the time being, we'll get ourselves set up for match number 2. It'll be another good one in the Southeast right after this.